Hey everyone, it's I do prefer something with longer longevity. However, if you're looking for a fragrance to not last that long, may it be for a special event or just for work to get through the day or a certain meeting, this may be exactly what you're looking for. The Harmonist Oud Nebula. At spot number 9 is Bin Sheikh by Ahmed Al Maghrib. Now there's several things I like about this fragrance. This fragrance is absolutely beautiful from a Middle Eastern house which is known for oud. It does smell like an oud fragrance. Although we are given this full list of fragrances, what stands out really fragrance. I love it. I think the quality is amazing. If you can, get your nose on it. and we have the leather in the mid notes. Together with the other notes, it is very suede-y. Oud fragrance list. I categorize them by how I like the oud and how I would wear it depending on the oud incorporated. At spot 3 is The Moon by Frederic Malle. This beautiful fragrance was created by Julien Rasquinet, one of my favorite fresh and elegant take. And as many of Jacques Cavalier's creation, it smells like really nothing out there. There are many fragrances that have a fresh frankincense like the one here. I'm gonna put the video of my frankincense fragrance review right here. It's absolutely and as always, stay scented.